welcome to MartialPreneur TV. It's me, Scott, and we've got a very special episode today. We've got Dr. Parvez from Fighting for Lives. Now, Parvez is a charity fundraiser, and Fighting for Lives is the organisation that he founded. He does a huge amount of work for street kids and orphans all over the world in very poor, very destitute places. Now, Parvez is very selfless. He runs Fighting for Lives in his spare time. He has a full-time career, but still makes time to do the charity work and a huge amount of good that Fighting for Lives does. It's a very unique take on raising money for charity. He's turned his passion for martial arts, rather than building a school or classes for his own gains, he's turned that into a way to raise money and funds for people less fortunate than him. So, you know, he's a real inspiration to all of us. He is constantly working on Fighting for Lives. He is really tireless, selfless person, and I can't big him up enough, to be honest. So let's find out a little bit more about Parvez, what Fighting for Lives does, and how we got around with the concept for Fighting for Lives. But just in the meantime, before you go any further, go and check out their Facebook page. Very, very active Facebook page there. Like it up and share it to your friends and fellow peers, because we really want to make a difference. And donate as much money as you can. You know, even if it's £1, you know, that makes a huge difference to some of these kids' lives. So yeah, without further ado, let's go and check out what Parvez has to say. Welcome to MartialPreneur TV. We have with us a real-life doctor in the house. It's Dr. Parvez Alam. Dr. Parvez.
All right, how's it going? Awesome. Yourself?
Yeah, very, very good, mate. Very good. Parvez, you run a martial arts charity, which is something that's very unusual. I'm sure not many people have come across that before. And it's called Fighting for Lives. So
that's right.
I just thought we'd do a quick video, and I just thought, you could explain a bit about Fighting for Lives.
Sure.
And if you could just tell us a bit about the charity, and then maybe let us know a bit about what it takes to set up a charity, some of the things you've come up against with doing that, and also the successes that you've had.
Fantastic.
So, well, I think I'll just hand it over to you and let you a little bit explain where you started out.
Okay, how we started. Well, basically, as you know, I'm actually born in the UK. Yeah, I live in Finland now, but originally I'm from the UK, and my parents from Bangladesh, so we used to travel from UK to Bangladesh quite a lot. And of course, as a child growing up and seeing a lot of the poverty in Bangladesh, you know, it does affect you. If you have empathy, of course, it does affect you. And at some point, like in my early 20s, I'd say, I started trying to effect some change through politicians in the UK. So I contacted quite a lot of politicians. I was lobbying local MPs and so forth, trying to get them to, for example, reduce the third world debt and that kind of stuff. But nothing was really happening. And I was at that stage. I was receiving a lot of information from different countries around the world, receiving graphic images and video footage and so forth. And you know, it was kind of driving me mad actually, because the politicians weren't doing anything. So you know, at some point, you know, when I moved to Finland, actually, I decided to give up on all of that. Yeah. So when I came to Finland, I just thought, okay, I've got a new job at the university here, and I'm just going to do this. Yeah. But it wasn't actually that long before I started contacting the politicians in Finland as well, because we did have EU presidency at one point. So I contacted the EU president here and the vice president of the EU and just said, look, at least bring to the table in Brussels, at least bring the issue of third world debt to the table. Let's see what you can do. If it's at least out in the open, you know, in Brussels, discussing, maybe something will happen within 10 years or whatever, But unfortunately, nothing happened there. So I ended up contacting about 100 different MPs in Finland, you know, and I asked them all to basically spam the EU president.
In a nice way.
Try and drive this one through. Unfortunately, there was only about 10 of them who got back to me and said, okay, we'll try and do something. So, you know, that happened, and again, nothing happened there, so I kind of gave up again. And then one of my friends, he came into my office at university. That was 2005, and he said, "Yeah, I've started learning karate." Yeah, I was like, "Oh, that's cool. You know, who's your teacher?" And he was like giving me some background and stuff. And I said, "Do you want to learn something? A little bit more weapons based and so forth?" And he was like, "Yeah, okay, cool." So I just said, "Okay, I'll just train you up," because I hadn't sort of trained that much since I left England, actually. Especially as my kids were still fairly small.
Sorry, what was your martial arts background, Parvez? Sorry, I forgot to ask you.
My martial arts, okay, so my background is mostly in the Filipino martial arts, in the Indonesian martial arts. I do these days, like last few years now, I've been doing a lot of capoeira, and capoeira is the one I train the most. Actually, I think first generation raw combat instructor as well.
Yeah, I believe you are. Yeah.
And that was in 2008. I started training raw combat with Luke. Yeah. Oh, I don't have that one. I got my Chroma Jinho t-shirt though.
Yeah, nice.
There's Nala here. but yeah, I met Luke in 2008. I started training raw combat, and that was really awesome. So I just decided to go with that. And Luke was a great guy as well. So I just generally thought you should support everything that he's going with. Turned out to be a good idea as well. I've been trying to learn Piper as well, South African. I'm going to meet Nigel February in South Africa as well in a few months this year. Okay. So those are the main backgrounds: Filipino, Indonesian, Brazilian, raw combat, and lately Piper. I got the chance also to do a little bit of Libra with Scott Babb when he came to England, and that was really fun as well, So, but bits and bobs here and there.
Yeah. So sorry, back to your story. I pulled you away a little bit there, but I just thought it was nice. But I obviously know your background and know you well, and but for anyone who's watching, maybe thinking, what is this guy teaching someone that he's just met? So
well, it's cool. It's cool. I mean, I've been doing martial arts for more than half my life, actually. So. Around 20 years or so.
Yeah, awesome.
So,
sorry, I pulled you off your story a little bit there. So you decided to teach a colleague, was it?
Let's see. I think I was my friend. He came to my office. So, I started teaching him martial arts, and then I said, I thought, we need to make this slightly more meaningful, yeah? So I said, why don't we just get a UNICEF box, yeah? And every time we train, we both put €1 in the UNICEF box, yeah? So we started doing that, and then I said, how's about you help me arrange a seminar, yeah? So then we can get some more money for UNICEF and so forth, yeah. And we did that for a couple of years actually, and we were just still this tiny little group of guys in Finland just doing this. Yeah. And I just thought I think it was 2006. I thought I'd put a video out on YouTube, and I thought it would be a good idea. It seems like a good idea. You're having fun. Yeah, and you can raise money for kids. Yeah. It's kind of working. So I put a video out, and then all of a sudden, things started changing from there. I got more attention, more interest in Fighting for Lives and so forth. And then I think it was in 2008, through a UK-based charity, we had the chance to open up our own, projects for street children. And the first one was Sierra Leone. Okay. 2 boys off the streets and put them in full-time education in 2008, and provided these malaria nets as well for a small village over there. Then in 2009, continued that. I went myself to Malaysia and started taking the money to orphanages there myself. And the reason for that was because we were supporting big charity organizations initially. Obviously got to start somewhere. But since 70% of the of the money that's goes to places like UNICEF and so forth, it actually goes to administration.
Right.
You just feel a lot of guys have broken their noses doing this, and 70% of that is not actually reaching the kids.
Yeah.
Just what I mean. So I just thought, why don't we just take it ourselves? Why don't we do the work ourselves? Open our own projects and. It just kind of went from there. Now we have projects in 6 countries around the world, like Sierra Leone, Ghana, we've got Kenya is very big, Indonesia, we've got orphanages in Malaysia and Thailand we're supporting as well. So we're all over the place now. We're registered in 4 different countries, Denmark, in Finland, we're registered in Ghana, we're registered in Indonesia as well. So, within the space of 5 years, we've just expanded madly. Yeah.
It's brilliant.
It's fantastic. There's been a lot of, really good people who have supported. A lot of complete dickheads also, unfortunately, who do jump in. They see an opportunity, they jump on it, and that kind of stuff happens, and it's happening. But, I've learned now how to just erase them. Yeah. So it still happens, still some people who still come to me with business propositions, and so I that's not what the point of the charity is. We are here. 100% of the funds goes to the kids. We're all volunteers. We pay for our own travel expenses, our own accommodation. We take time off work to get there. There's a lot of sacrifice that comes from the field workers who do this. Yeah. So it's just fantastic. There are people all over the world who are supporting, and we get a lot of support. Actually, last year in the World Fighting for Lives event, there was tons of support coming from Australia. Actually, there was loads of groups in Australia that were doing stuff, and then America as well, Europe, UK, all over the place. Actually, loads of groups in Indonesia doing events for local projects there. And they're all our projects. And this is the cool thing now. Mm-hmm. What's uniting us all is that we're all around the world. We're all working towards the same goal. Yep. Yeah. We have our own projects. We're all working for the same kids. So now, for example, we just built a school. A home in Kenya. We helped build that home in Kenya for 30 street children.
Sorry, how many?
Sorry?
For how many street children?
Children. 30. 30, yeah.
That's brilliant.
It was just a dream in 2009, yeah? And now it's happened. It's reality. So now we're trying to build a school right next to the home, because the home is there, awesome. They're off the streets, they're in the home. But education is key. They need to develop as people. They need to come off the drugs. They need to, rehabilitate themselves. They've all had difficult lives. There's a lot of raping that goes on of children and mothers in a lot of these countries. There's trafficking that goes on in Indonesia. There are a lot of problems, and we have to deal with all of them, And Indonesia is an amazing success, like I said, I was telling you before, we went there in January. I went there last year, January. One of my main Silat teachers, Pak Enku Ansari of Silat Sapikalo. So in 2009, he asked me to raise some funds to help street children and orphan children in Sumatra, which is where he's from, you see. Because he's actually a prince in Sumatra, and he's been also working with street children there. So he asked me to help. So 3 years later, I finally managed to get the funds. Yeah. And I went over, and he came along, and he showed me the places and helped me out. And we set up in Bukit Tinggi our first projects. We're trying to move kids away from an earthquake zone. There's orphaned children who are living in a place where there are mudslides that are happening. There are earthquakes regularly happening, so we're trying to move them. And we need to raise around 20,000 euros or something like that, 25, to actually relocate those kids. Right. We're, providing education for the kids in Sumatra as well. They're orphan children, and their education for over 16-year-olds, it costs something like, I think it's around between 500 and 600 euros per year, which is more expensive than in Sierra Leone, but different country, different situations, you see.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can take one of the street children into education for a year for 35 euros. It's completely different, but all kids are important, so it doesn't matter. We just, we put the funds where they're needed, and we try to make that project work, you see. So then when I went to Jakarta, I met up with Chico Wolf, he was actually a friend of Scott Babb, who's a Libra fighting guy, the founder of Libra fighting, actually. And I met Scott actually just a few months before I met Chico, and Chico was like, he got in touch with me and said, yeah, I see you're doing this. That's really cool. We're also doing something, trying to help street kids here. And, I had been trying for 8 or 9 months to find a good, trustworthy contact in Jakarta, but I couldn't find one. You see what I mean? So 1 week before I was going to Indonesia, Chico gets in touch with me, and he's like, yeah, and I practice Libra fighting. So I was like, I got in touch with Scott, and he was like, yeah, Chico's cool. So went up, met up with Chico, and he was one of the coolest guys in the world, actually, that I've met. So so that worked out well. And now...
present company accepted, you know?
But I mean, now in Jakarta, for example, we have our own medical clinic for street children. It costs us each year around 1,400 euros to keep that medical clinic open and provide the medicines, right? And there's about 500-ish children each month that get seen to at our clinic. Can you imagine? Is there any other organization in the world that you can think of that has that level of success? You know, and this is because all of the money that we take actually goes to the kids, number one. But also, when we go there ourselves and we actually try to make stuff happen ourselves, we have a reason and a purpose to make it work efficiently. You see. So what happens at our clinic for street kids in Jakarta is we actually get the doctors for free. They're university students, medical students at university, and they have to every year, once in their degree, they have to actually do community service in order to be able to pass their degree.
Right.
We actually just provide the service. They just do here's our clinic. Here are the hundreds and hundreds of street children. Please, come and just do your community service at our place.
Right.
Luke actually he was there yesterday.
Yeah.
I phoned him up. He had just got back from that clinic. He went there with running cool. Everything's good, And what we're trying to do now is get an ambulance for carrying dead bodies and for the very extreme cases. And also, we're planning to register our clinic as an official medical clinic in Indonesia. And that cost us no more than 450 euros, I think.
Gosh. So we're not talking huge sums here. I mean, just small amounts can really make a huge difference.
Believable, when you realize what you can do with small amounts. I mean, one of my favorite things that I love to do when I go to Africa, when I go to Southeast Asia, is to take the kids out somewhere on a cool day trip and just make them smile, make them happy. I love to do that. I've got my own kids, as you know, you just saw them. But, I know how much children appreciate just fun, happiness, to know that there are people out there who love them, who care for them, who want to help them. And that is, in itself, is worth actually way more in some ways than anything financial material.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Food is important, shelter is important, safety is important, all these things, they are important.
Yeah.
I mean, we are training up children and the mothers also, self-protection, basically. We are training people because, like I told you, they're kids and mothers who get raped on a regular basis. They get trafficked on a regular basis.
Yep.
This stuff, it shouldn't exist, but it does. It's the police who are doing it, So we have problems, do you see? We have problems.
Huge.
And the best way, actually, is to just teach the children how to escape, how to avoid crap places, how to beat the shit out of other people, And that sounds harsh. But when I was in Indonesia, in Sumatra, the girls were telling me, we're really scared at night. And obviously you are. If you're living in that kind of situation, you're scared. Yeah. So all right, I'll spend 1 week with you, and every night I'm going to come here and I'm going to just teach you how to fight.
Yep.
And after 1 week, they were very, very scary. Very dangerous. And I was so happy that
that's great.
The idea that they could escape any potential problems, or it's not, of course, there's no guarantee.
No.
But at least you give people a chance. You give people hope.
Yep.
And there is a better chance then that they can actually avoid confrontation. And if they do get into it, they can just beat the crap out of somebody and just get, because that stuff shouldn't happen.
No.
Children should not be being raped. They should not be trafficked. And that's the end of the story. And even if people are against the idea of that we teach kids how to defend themselves, I actually don't care, honestly. I've seen myself what happens. I've seen the problems that exist, and anybody who actually thinks that's okay, yeah, or there's like some diplomatic solution to this, is wrong.
Yeah. The reality is different, isn't it? It's completely different.
It's completely different.
Well, Parvez, I mean, I just find it amazing. You're someone who's taken this small concept and can see that you want to do good, and you've built it into this real charity organisation that is making a massive change to people's lives. And I can't commend you enough. I mean, anyone's watching, really need to if they can help out.
It's to do with us.
Yeah.
I'm just one person. Yeah, okay. Yes, I'm the founder. Yes, I do. Quite a lot of work behind it. But ultimately, there are people all over the world who have been raising the funds.
Mm-hmm.
One, of course, now, but they're.
Sorry, Parvez.
Go and answer your phone. It's okay.
I've got the phone gun. Sorry, just 2 seconds.
Bonjour, mon ami.
Bonjour. So sorry about that, Parvez.
It's okay, man. It's all right, bro. It's all right.
Whenever I do a MartialPreneur TV show, there's always an interruption. I think it's just going to be the theme.
Fantastic. I think that's cool because it's more raw.
Oh, exactly.
So
I want people who are watching this, that they know this is not a set-up thing. I genuinely want people to get good information about different projects and the good that people are doing, and especially like we were just saying, then what you're doing is amazing, and I know you're saying it's a collective thing. And totally collective, because at the end of the day, like I said, by myself, when I was doing this by myself here, we were raising like hundreds of euros, maybe like into the thousands occasionally, but that's not enough to keep the number of projects we have going. Yeah.
So it's thanks to the fact that there's all these people around the world who keep sending money now. There are martial arts. Every year now, we're having the World Fighting for Lives weekend, every year.
I mean,
because
anyone needs to check, wants to become a part. I think that's one of the best ways to get in is by getting involved with that. I mean, I know I've tried to.
Please do, yeah. And you get added to our friends list.
Yeah.
So, and that's very important because we should all be friends, right?
Absolutely,
anyway,
yeah.
But I mean, it's more seriously though, without everybody donating the way they are, I mean, for everybody to do one event a year is easy. It's easy, actually. And the good thing is everybody gets to see what their money goes to and, how much change they have, basically made happen themselves. Because, I update stuff on Facebook all the time. We also update things on the website slightly less frequently, I admit, but that's just because it's more cumbersome to do that. But Facebook is so easy, so I usually update things first on Facebook.
That's the sort of hub for you.
Yeah, I mean, people can just see for themselves. Oh, look, they can think, I actually contributed to the building of that home in Kenya. Yep. Awesome, I actually contributed to like hundreds of street children, getting medical care. Yep. Imagine, Absolutely. I mean, that kind of feeling is something that you can't just you can't get that feeling when you just put the money into the box of one of these larger organizations. Yep. You don't really know what happens or anything like that, except that you do know that a lot of the money goes to admin. Yes,
exactly, and that's
sorry.
I was just going to say, and like you said before, I mean, people who may be watching it is that you don't charge, you don't take any percentage for that. It all goes to the causes that are needed,
exactly.
And everyone gets what you can give them.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, like I said, if anybody wants to be a volunteer, they actually have to. They have to be profiled, of course.
Yeah.
If there's anything dodgy about somebody's character, I'm sorry, but you're not allowed to go and see the kids. Yeah. Number one. Number two, if you want me to pay for your trip somewhere, I'm afraid it's not going to happen because the money has to go to the kids.
Yep.
So it's to the individual if they really, and it's good because it's a test in some ways of people's dedication to the cause. Yep. It's not a case of people can just go off on free holidays.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Nothing when they're there.
Yeah.
If they're dedicated, they will raise the funds for their own trip themselves. Just like we all do. Myself, Luke, Richard Crab de Board, Chico, all these people who are actually doing the field work. Matt Danur as well. We all get our own funds together and we just take ourselves over. We take time off work ourselves. Or in my case, often I will try and get work in a nearby country, and then I'll just follow the days over the weekend when I'm not, officially working anyway, and try and get stuff done like that as well. That works as well.
It's, like we were with, like recently, Luke was out at one of the orphanages. We were working, down the road, so he went straight off his own time, went down there and was donating and helping out. It's great, and I love that whole the concept. MartialPreneur TV. We're about martial arts business, but it's great to show what you can do with that same mentality for good, not just for your own self gain. We get caught up all in the time with martial arts as teachers that we run our own school, fund all our own things, but like I said earlier, what impresses me is that small amount that people can give can make such a huge difference.
Yes.
And
collectively, it makes a huge difference.
Yeah, and the way that it's so easy for us to get involved, because we all love martial arts, we all love teaching, and I think that, like you say, with the Fighting for Lives weekend that you run, it's a global activity, and everyone can give up a class, for one class a year.
Exactly.
It's not
That's
huge.
The thing. I mean, it's so easy, and you get to be part of a united globe.
Yep.
So I mean, this is like unity at its best.
Yep.
That whole weekend, as the earth is turning, there are constantly Fighting for Lives events happening around the world over the entire weekend. Yeah. And all of that, everybody around that world is working for the same groups of children in those few, I think, 6 countries that we're working in.
So awesome. It's such a good way
beautiful.
To leverage, just leverage what everyone does and get the most out of it. It's so commendable, to everyone who's involved. And
I think we can do so much more as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
If everybody networks and tries to get their friends involved, we could take over the world just like that.
Yeah, exactly. It's making real changes, real difference, and like you say, you went down the politician route, and not much happens. And
yes.
You've literally grabbed it by the balls and thought, right.
Well, actually, we have had one politician support.
Right. Okay.
It was last year. We had a sponsored walk in Finland, and we raised over €1,000 in that sponsored walk.
Oh, wow.
We do that every year here in Finland as well, incidentally. So if you're in Finland, get involved.
Yeah. Exactly.
But last year, the Minister of Defence in Finland, he protected our event.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And that was awesome. Because also, this Fighting for Lives, Minister of Defence, how perfect is that?
Exactly. It's just hand in hand.
Thank my friend Ade for setting that up as well.
Did you have red dots everywhere? Just pin on there. Was there red dots on everyone?
But the darts that I was flicking.
Right.
I'm not much of a walker, really.
No.
There's always got to be some weapon involved, right?
Yeah, exactly. What was I say? How can people get involved outside of Fighting for Lives? I mean, is there anywhere they can donate? I know you've got your website.
Yes, we have. If you go to the website www.fightingforlives.com, there's a donate button on the front page. There's also a special tab that leads you to another donate button. There's quite a few donate buttons just on the Fighting for Lives website. Yeah, if and that's through PayPal actually. Mm-hmm. You can also just PayPal directly to the email address contact@fightingforlives.com. Okay. That also works. So those are the ways to donate. If you're in Finland, then
I'll put the details somewhere along here.
We'll pop awesome. Up. Yes. Yeah. Fantastic.
So, we'll hook that all up. And I was speaking to you earlier, and hopefully we can get I'm having the MartialPreneur TV website redone at the moment, but we'll get a little tab or an icon somewhere where people can just click that and find out all about it. So
thank you so much. I really appreciate it. There's quite a few guys actually who have put Fighting for Lives as a link on their websites. Yeah. There's quite a lot of guys out there who've done that. They're all friends, and love all of them, and so many thanks to all of those guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
And supporters as well, thank you so much, because it's thanks to those guys that the kids get help.
Yeah,
it's thanks to them. You know what I mean?
That's it. It's great, Parvez. I mean, we'll have to catch up again soon. I'll have you back on the show at some point. Maybe we can do a few little updates every now and again.
You have to visit us in Finland at some point, bro.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't wait for that. So I'll have to come out and enjoy some of this snow.
Absolutely. Snowboard's in steel, actually.
Yeah,
So
from anyone watching, every time I speak to Parvez, he's like, "Yeah, I've been out snowboarding today." You know, yeah. I'm like, "Don't,
yeah, love it.
yeah, don't rub it in, don't rub it in."
Sorry, man. Sorry. Just come.
Yeah, we just get rain, mate. You should come back to the motherland. Just have the
No.
rain.
Rain is like my least favorite weather as well, and that's the one that is always happening in the UK.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
all rain, isn't it? Except there's like two seasons in the UK basically. There's summer, and then there's the rain season.
Yeah,
isn't it?
it's like a summer rainy. Sometimes they're just both one and the same.
Yeah.
Anyway, Parvez,
All right,
thank you
bro.
so much. I mean,
Yeah,
you're
thank you so
doing
much.
such amazing work, and I just can't commend you enough. And the world just needs more people like you, mate. And I just more power to you. And I, as you know, I do everything I can do for you, for Fighting for Lives. And anyone watching, just get involved. Check out the links. Even if you can donate £1, you know, it makes all the difference. So, like we said earlier, just a little tiny amount can make a huge difference to people. So, let's stamp out some of this poverty for street children, yeah?
All right. Thank you very much, bro.
All right, Parvez. Thank you, my man.